Hello there, Capricorn. Welcome to your November reading. Great to see you again. As always, you can use these monthly videos for your sun, your rising, and for your moon sign. So, this is probably one of my favorite months to look at because you're at a point in the year where it's really about potential. You'll be planting seeds, almost like thinking of the putting bulbs in the earth for the spring growth. Same thing, you're going to be starting things this month that will really help you into the next year. So that's part of what November provides. It's also a wrap-up month. You're not quite at the end. There's still some productivity that you can tap into. As you get into December, it's really difficult. There's so much going on between holidays and other things and looking at the next year that this is probably one of the last really productive months and one of the months where, again, you can start to create potential energy that you can realize in 2018. Speaking of energy, that's a really good segue into looking at your channeled information for this month. When I tuned into your sign and I selected a deck of cards to work with this month, the one thing that really came through was to pay attention to whether or not you were going with the flow or against the flow. So in terms of tarot, you could think of the Wheel of Fortune, but the image that I got was actually a river flowing because I want to try to help you guys open up the flow of prosperity and opportunity, love, growth, etc. And what you could think of is how the very beginning of a large river starts off just as sort of like a bubbling point, and then it starts to get bigger and gain strength, and it can actually, get very large before it opens up and goes into the ocean. So remember that all things start with a very small seed or very little beginning, and from that great things can sprout and grow. And so the other thing is, when you are traveling in the flow of prosperity, things proceed much easier with much less friction than if you're trying to work against it. So sometimes when we're in a work, love, or living situation that doesn't suit us, you'll notice that it's difficult. It's difficult to make change. It's difficult to communicate. It's just overall hard. And what the universe is doing is sending a subtle note, subtle cue that, sure, you can make this work. Is it worth it? Could there be another opportunity that is right there on the horizon? Maybe there's some risk, maybe there's discomfort, maybe you just haven't considered it. And if you explore that, could it be easier? Pay attention to how it feels within, and also look at the exterior cues that are going on. Is it harder than it should be? Are you always the one picking up the phone talking to a friend? Have you applied multiple times for a job and not gotten it? Have you been passed over for promotion many times? Are people just not considering you for what you're bringing? Some of that can be your own energy, but some of it can also be just the fact that this might be going contrary to the flow of prosperity or opportunity. So look around. The first thing to do is look around. The second thing is to tune in and think what it is that you really want to do, and ask yourself, are you being truthful? Are you honoring your true purpose or your true desires? Okay, now let's take a look at the cards and see if they have some additional insights into either that or the potential of November. Straighten these up, and then we'll look at your catalyst card. Catalyst card, of course, what ties everything together. So one thing that I want you to think about this month is not to go to extremes, not to either go and celebrate too much over something that maybe hasn't fully been materialized, and also don't get upset if there's one small thing that's not going the way that you want. This is about trying to stay a lot more in the middle. That being said, there's a lot to be happy for. So I do think it's important to give gratitude and thanks for small things. But for you, what I want you to think about is just trying to go higher up and look at a bird's eye view of what's going on in your life. And when things are good, be appreciative. When they're challenging, don't let that pull you off your path. Remembering again that this is a month of potential. And so do have fun. This card is about trying to enjoy life. So more often than not, I think this month is going to open up some opportunities for celebration and growth, which is good. Don't lose perspective. Don't get either too high or too low. And that's basically what I'm seeing with the catalyst. Your central card here is speaking to the chance to make really good partnerships. And so this is across the board. If you're already in a relationship, this is something where you can explore that relationship even deeper. Everything should be opening up so that it feels safer, it feels more comfortable to kind of be with your partner. So that's great. If you are single, great month to go out to date. If you're looking for good business partnerships, also a great month for that. Now, some of these may not completely come to fruition until the spring, but you could meet a key person, and I would say stay connected. Either connect on social media or, periodically try to meet up. This could grow into something that's much, much bigger in the long term. Now, for those of you that are in a deeper relationship or a long-term relationship, and maybe you want to discuss the future, your plans, this can also indicate that marriage is coming or that you're thinking about where to go. Your crowning card, Three of Swords, is really speaking to the fact that, you may see that your partner is not on the same path as you. And if that's the case, you really have to discuss and think about what's important to you. There may also be something in your life, whether it's environmentally or relationship-wise, that triggers you. And that's why when I was looking at your catalyst card, it's showing that overall the energy is pretty good, but this can be a card of extremes, going too high or too low. Take that one incident for what it is and try to compartmentalize it a bit so that it doesn't bleed over into an otherwise pretty good month. When I'm looking at what's been affecting you before this month, a lot of you are impatient or ready for either promotion, the next phase. It can be difficult, especially if you're clairvoyant and you get a vision of what's coming, to be able to sit with the present and to see something through. So this is basically saying, don't give up. Don't try to jump ahead. You're going through this present situation. You're going through today. You're listening to this reading for a reason. So see the value in the present. When I'm looking at what was crossing that center card, you're going to have a lot of success also presenting ideas this month. So don't be afraid for those of you that are thinking of starting a business or trying to sell products or services or even litigate, this is a really good month to present products, services, and even arguments. So I feel like you're going to be in a very good limelight this month and use that to your advantage, especially if there's something difficult that you need to talk about. What's been affecting your mood lately looks like a boon or an increase in your creativity. But for some of you, there could be some things from the past or some fears that you're afraid to either go into or talk about. And when I see these two cards together, it's really speaking to knowing that shadows, fears, any lower frequency emotions or energy that you have only has power if you ignore it or if you think that it is scary or something like that. So what I want you to try to do this month is diffuse fear, move into whatever shadow, fear, or doubt that you have, and try to eviscerate it by doing the opposite, figuring out what's causing it. And if it's a fear of, for some of you, either money or connections with family members, this usually has to do with parents, like a mother especially. It can also have to do with feeling like you're not being treated well by others or that you're just not being appreciated. So look at feelings of worth, self-worth, money, and also relationships with parents this month. These things need to be resolved because it's in your fear area, and I'm seeing that connected with the moon. As I look at opportunities in the short term, really good month for anything that's involving public speaking and contracts. So your writing and speaking and ability to convey messages this month, really great place to be, and it's going to be received very well by others. I want you to focus on, for some of you, there may be a feeling that you need to just sort of stay at home or focus on your own growth, which is fine, but I do think you might go too introspective, because when I'm looking at your environment card, there's some opportunities, like I said, to meet some really key people that you could pass up. So I totally understand and relate with the Hermit card sometimes. It has a very good energy for spiritual development, for research, for just understanding who you are. do that for the first couple weeks of the month. But for the latter part of the month, I don't want you to miss out on a good opportunity. These two read as double hermit, which is too much hermit. So stay home a little bit, relax at the beginning, get recharged, and then I want you to try to snap out of that phase by weeks 3 and 4. This is especially important for your financial future and for your career. There may be a work party or a work contact that you meet that will, like I said, is probably April for many of you. So try to be open to whatever opportunities come your way. And again, RSVP yes to some parties this month. As we look at the final outcome card here, we have the Queen of Cups, which is really speaking to your ability to have fun in relationships. I mentioned that you can go deeper in some relationships. You might find new love. For many of you, though, emotions could play a very big role and could actually cause some friendships or relationships to fall apart. So really be careful. Remember, your catalyst was not to go too far in either direction with your emotions. Keep them in check, stick to the facts, try to stay a little bit more neutral when it comes to issues that come up. That's going to suit you very well. All right, let's expand the forecast, and we'll start off with your health card. Health is mind, body, and spirit, but let's see what it has to say. So some of you may be avoiding something that is either really, really obvious yet a little bit scary for you to deal with, or you might just be afraid of the unknown. So a lot of times this comes up when you haven't been to a doctor in years and years and years, and you're afraid to go for a checkup, or you're afraid that something that's happened in your family could happen to you. This card you have to diffuse by taking action on. So if there's anything in your health, whether it's simply a fear or it's something that's manifested and you just don't know what to do with it, you're going to be, first of all, you'll feel better knowing that it's either something or nothing by going to an expert. And you'll also release the energy of sort of like fear, basically, that you're feeding into this. So I highly encourage you, for those of you that have been afraid to do something, to do it. And if there's something that you don't like in your life, the Two of Swords is really indicating a path where you need to make a decision. And you don't always have a clear-cut decision with this. Inform yourself the best that you can, get a second opinion, and then you have to take action eventually. So don't be afraid to kind of explore that area. Your health needs a little bit of attention in one way or the other, and some decisions need to be made. So don't be afraid to do that. All right, so let's take a look now at what's coming through for your wealth this month, and a reminder that your wealth card can include not only what's happening in your money, but also what is available in your career, and maybe some things emotionally that affect your money situation. So let's see what's coming through for that. We have the Page of Wands in reverse, which is really speaking to don't be stubborn. Have an open mind on solutions, and don't be afraid to ask for assistance. It's a lot of what I'm seeing even in the health card. This is a month to listen with an open mind, make your decisions later, but definitely ask for some feedback, for some assistance, for some guidance. And know that maybe even if something worked in the past, it may be time to reevaluate and look at a new way to deal with your money situation. All right, let's now take a look at your love and see how the energy this month is affecting your relationships. So we have Eight of Swords in reverse, which is actually a good way to kind of have this card, because it's about opening up your eyes to a situation. There may be something where, I also like this card and the message behind it, which is not to get stuck in someone else's web of either fear, of chaos, etc. You have the ability to break free, and that's really what you need to do this month. If there's anything in your life, it could be a difficult situation, a difficult relationship that is challenging. Why are you here? Remember, the channeled information was to pay attention to the flow of energy. So if someone or something's working against your happiness in love, then you have to think, is it worth the energy that I'm putting into it? Remember, though, not to make it purely based on emotion. It does have to be based on facts. But most important for you this month is your feeling of self-worth. Does the person make you feel that you're an equal partner? Do they have a tendency to sometimes feel like everything's working against them? If that's the case, you know that it's time to shift your attention and your energy. All right, finally, let's take a look at your destiny card and see where you're headed. So for your destiny this month, we have the Wheel, which is what I mentioned earlier, the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And so I want you to do a little bit of a course correction, or consider a course correction in some aspect of your life, because it's interesting that the channeled information was not to work against the flow of opportunity, and that's precisely what I see in the Destiny card. So you have a chance this month to shift your flow so that things can go in a much, much better way when it comes to finances, prosperity, love, and happiness. So let's quickly review and then we'll wrap up. Your channeled information this month was to remember that, much like that Destiny card that we just looked at, you have the ability to embrace opportunity and embrace change. Sometimes the flow can take you through change, or you can work against it. Sometimes you have to, if there's something in your life that you have to really fight for and make change. But more often than not, when it comes to opportunity, doors open up, and when we ignore them or we don't take them, then we have friction in the present situation. Your catalyst was a reminder to not go too far in either. This can be a card reminding those of you that have struggled with addiction of some sort of another to not go to extremes, but it's the same thing with emotions. Sort of walk the middle, stay neutral as possible this month. Relationships are very positive over the course of this month, even with the fact that I'm seeing a shift in one significant relationship. Overall, it's a month of planting seeds of growth, something that may come to fruition in April of next year. You're going to be received very, very well by others. Try not to, though, give in to fears or to project your fears on others. Really focus on clear communication this month, because the King of Swords is supporting that in your cards here. I know that a lot of you are impatient, but I reminded you not to give up on a present task or path. You have to see it to its end. Try to get out of your hermit phase towards the middle of the month. And if there's any money issues that are requiring your attention, definitely take care of them. But also feel that you are worthwhile and you're worth more money, and open yourself up to opportunity. Don't attach to a past failure or disappointment and think that that's indicative of all things in the future. And as we looked at the expanded forecast, many of you will be sitting at a decision path in your health, something where you might need to ask someone for help, or you just need to make a decision where there's no clear winning outcome. Do your homework, ask for second opinions, and then eventually you're going to have to make up your decision knowing that you've done as much preparation as possible. With wealth, ask for help. Don't be stuck in your ways. Explore new ways to either fix, repair, or grow your financial situation. With love, don't get caught up in other people's truths or dramas. You have to tune into your own this month. And finally, and most importantly, follow the flow of prosperity. That's the single most important message that could come through for your sign. And Capricorn is usually very good with business, so you're going to have a good sense of what you need to do. So I hope this was very helpful for you. And if you'd ever like to schedule an appointment, I am available, but I'd like to give you a quick note on my vacation schedule. I will be available in November and also in January, but I'm taking off December. And so you won't notice availability then. So book if you need to this month or ahead in January. And to that end, I will also be doing only one video next month for all signs, because again, I need a little bit of time to recharge and take some vacation and work on some projects as well. If you'd like to stay in touch, the easiest way to do so is simply to subscribe to this channel. Remember, there are two buttons, one that will allow for you to receive notifications on your homepage, and a little bell icon that will send you emails when I update any videos on this page. Also, if you'd like to get email notifications, I have a newsletter, so feel free to subscribe. There'll be a link in the description area below. If you'd like to follow me on other social media, I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you'd like to give back to the channel, I have a couple ways to do that as well. One is through a donation link on my homepage, and the other is through Patreon, and all of these links will also be in the description area. I'd like to end this video with a little bit of gratitude, just thanking you for showing up, for working on yourself, for continuing to grow as an intuitive, as a light worker, as a highly sensitive person. We need this in the world. Keep doing that. Keep shining brightly. And thank you so much for letting me play a small part in doing that. So from my heart to yours, I wish you love, abundance, and happiness. I'll see you again for a short video next month, and then I'll be back in January, okay? Thank you so much, and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.